Hello, this is another one of our videos on the Baha'i 9-year plan from 1964 to 1973, this being part 6 on achievements of the plan. As with other videos in this series, the main source material is the book Messages from the Universal House of Justice 1963 to 1986. I'll give details below the video. And there's also an old article of mine which I co-wrote with Moojan Momen on the history of the Baha'i faith from 1957 to 1988, which provides general context. The 9-year plan ended at Reservoir in 1973. In its commemorative message to the Baha'is of the world, the Universal House of Justice announced that an overwhelming victory had been achieved and gave thanks for the confirmations of Baha'u'llah, which had enabled this victory to be attained. The Army of Light had achieved both of the central objectives of its second global campaign. It had surpassed the set goals for the expansion of the faith, and it had attained a truly impressive degree of universal participation. The Baha'i cause was now both enormously more widespread and more firmly grounded than it had been in 1964. The expansion achievements during the 9 years of the plan were as follows. First, 95 new territories had been opened to the faith. Secondly, the number of national spiritual assemblies had been increased from 69 to 113. That's an increase of 44, 5 more than the total set in the plan. Third, the total number of local spiritual assemblies had been increased by 12,000 to over 17,000, that is 3,000 in excess of the goal. Fourth, the total number of localities had increased by 54,000 to 69,500, or thereabouts, 15,000 in excess of the goal. Fifth, Baha'i literature had been translated into an additional 225 languages, bringing the total to 571. Sixth, 69 temple sites, 56 national Baha'i centers, and 62 national endowments had been acquired, raising the total numbers of each to 98, 112, 104, respectively. Seventh, the total number of teaching institutes and summer and winter school properties had now reached the number of 50. Eighth, 15 Baha'i publishing trusts had now been established, producing Baha'i literature in the major languages of the world. Ninth, the Mother Temple of Latin America had been built and dedicated. And 10th, a total of 3,553 Baha'is had responded to the House's 2 appeals for pioneers, 2,265 of whom were still at their posts. Some goals had been dependent, or were dependent, upon external circumstances, and their achievement could not be controlled by the Baha'is. Of these, 90 national assemblies and 1,556 local assemblies, that's 181 more than called for, had gained legal incorporation, and official recognition had been gained for Baha'i holy days in 64 countries, and Baha'i certificates of marriage in 40 countries. The intensive worldwide proclamation of the faith, initiated in October 1967 with 6 simultaneous intercontinental conferences, would continue into the future. Already, a special edition of English language translations of Baha'u'llah's writings had been presented to 142 heads of state, and the 9 subsequent oceanic and continental conferences in 1970-71 had also given great impetus to the proclamation program. These conferences, attended altogether by almost 17,000 Baha'is, had attracted a great deal of publicity, both in the press and on radio. The conferences had also been made the occasion for acquainting various dignitaries with the Baha'i message. There had been important developments at the Baha'i World Center in terms of the adoption of a constitution by the Universal House of Justice, the collation and classification of Baha'i texts, the production of the synopsis and codification of Baha'u'llah's Kitab al-Aqdas, and the development of Baha'i buildings and grounds in the Haifa-Akka area. The planned years had also seen the establishment of the Continental Boards of Councillors and significant developments in Baha'i relations with the United Nations. The House also identified three highly portentous developments which had occurred during the years of the 9-year plan. These were firstly the advance of youth to the forefront of the teaching work, secondly a great increase in the financial resources of the faith, and thirdly an astonishing proliferation of assistance projects between national spiritual assemblies. In some countries, the Baha'is have not been able to achieve the goal set, either because of overt persecution or limitations on their freedom to actively promote the faith. In others, legal and physical obstacles had prevented the Baha'is achieving certain goals, mostly those involving the gaining of official recognition or legal incorporation. Anticipating these barriers to expansion, the House had stated that some goals were subject to favorable circumstances, and when it became obvious that some of these goals could not be met, called upon the Baha'is who lived in countries in which they were free to practice and promote the faith to exceed their own goals, and thus ensure that the overall goal totals would be achieved. A significant feature of the 9-year plan was the extent to which the House had called upon national assemblies to collaborate in the accomplishment of specific goals. These assistance projects were evidently highly successful, and at the end of the plan, the House referred to the, quote, astonishing proliferation of these projects as being one of the plan's most highly pretentious developments, and to the faith's own international relations as having become far more closely knit. Altogether, 219 international assistance projects had been set as goals in the 9-year plan, but by the end of the plan, the original goal had been far exceeded, and over 600 projects had been completed. Each project involved 2 designated national assemblies and communities, one to assume responsibility for the project, and the other, generally geographically remote from the first, to assist in its accomplishment. The assistance given might involve providing financial, pioneering, or teaching support, and included the opening, settlement, and consolidation of particular territories, the establishment of national assemblies, the acquisition of Hazrat al-Quds, that is, Baha'i centers, temple sites, and other property goals, the translation, enrichment, and publication of Baha'i literature, and specific teaching projects. An additional development here had been international cooperation in the publication of Baha'i literature in Spanish, French, and various African languages. A vast field of fruitful endeavor in this regard lay open for the future. The House stated that the intention of this conception had been to strengthen the bonds of unity between different parts of the Baha'i world, which had different social, cultural, and historical backgrounds. And clearly, the result of these projects was to create a web of linkages between national assemblies, and presumably to foster the development of a sense of international Baha'i solidarity, as well as aiding the accomplishment of particular goals. Thus, for example, the Argentinian Baha'is were asked to assist in the acquisition of a temple site in Central Africa, as well as helping the Chileans to open Tierra del Fuego, and the Bolivians to increase the amount of Baha'i literature in Quechua. The Hawaiian Baha'is were asked to help with the development of Baha'i literature in the Filipino languages of Tagalog and Ilocano, and the Finnish Baha'is were directed to help in the acquisition of a teaching institution in Kenya and the consolidation of the faith in the Russian Republic. The 3 assemblies which were given the most work to do were the United States with 26 projects, Iran with 22, and the British Isles with 17. By continent, Europe was given the largest number of assistance goals, 74, followed by the Americas, 68, Asia, 57, Australasia, 19, and Africa with only 1. As I said last week, there's going to be a temporary pause in this particular video series. I've already published 31 videos on my old manuscript on Baha'i history in the 1963-73 period, and will soon have reached the halfway point in the manuscript. The whole set will maybe reach 60 or so videos. I will suspend recording the manuscript when I finish the present chapter. That will be next week, for a 2.5 month break. By the way, I've just started a new set of videos on language, literacy and culture in the social science slot, which is every Sunday. So many thanks to you for listening, and particular thanks to my patrons for their kind support and encouragement. Without them I wouldn't be able to make these videos. Please do like, comment and share on the videos, it really does help. You're always welcome to support my channel. Subscribe if you want to be notified of future videos. And next week, in the final video for the present section, is on preparing for the future, which is the last video on the 9-year plan. Have a good day.